Hello, we are live. My name is Steve Fisher, and this is Jamie Kelly. We are members of Otherworldly Fundraising, which is an organization that was put together by a bunch of nerdy friends who wanted to come together, take our talents, and use them for good. And that's what we do. Every September, we have a virtual con in which we interview celebrity guests and authors and artists and just all around interesting people. And we always raise money for particular charities. This past September, we raised money for Options Save Lives, which aims to help people recover from alcohol use disorder. And this coming September, we've got some good things planned, but we want to keep our name out there. We want people to remember who we are and see us on the regular. So we do monthly chats. And this week or this month is November. So we decided to do one on Nerdsgiving, where we talk about what it's like to be in the nerd culture and just give thanks to what brought us to the nerd culture and what keeps us in the nerd culture and the people and things and events that have made us the nerds that we are.
Yep.
So, yeah, I guess that's, the setup. And so hello, nerd.
Hello, fellow nerd, and hello to all the nerds that will be watching now and later as well, because there's a lot of us out there. I mean, I've often said that everybody's a nerd. It just kind of depends on who's ready to accept it, but also what you're into. Whatever you're into, that's you're a nerd for that. That's the way that works. If you're interested in something enough to know a lot about it and to kind of keep up with it and everything. And the beautiful thing about it is there's so many different things out there to get into and so many different approaches to take to it. And I just, we're just thinking it would be fun to talk about that stuff, to celebrate that stuff, and to just kind of say, nerd culture can be a little contentious at times. So taking a moment saying, you know what, I'm glad this happened. I'm glad that happened. I'm glad this was released. And, there's a lot of really cool things and things that have happened. And it's, I thought it'd be good to kind of put that forward.
Yes, I agree. And it's also good. I will say that there seems to be nowadays much more of an acceptance of nerd culture.
Mm-hmm.
Because when I was growing up, there was a movie called Revenge of the Nerds for a reason.
Yeah.
And people looked at the nerds as other, as less than. Oh, you read comic books, you're a nerd. Oh, you like Star Trek, you're a nerd. And, I was called a nerd numerous times. But now, and I just kind of didn't want anything, I was trying to stay away from that, but still embracing it, but not liking the title. But I've come to accept it because I am a nerd and I'm a proud nerd.
Mm-hmm.
And everything about, being a nerd is, I will say that because I'm a nerd, some of my best friends that I have in this world are thanks to my nerddom.
Yeah.
And without that, there are a lot of people in my life right now that would not be there if it weren't for that.
Exactly. Yeah. That's exactly it, and I spent a lot of time when I was, let's see, before I have memories, I was drawn to costumes and things. There are pictures of me with the world's most makeshift Superman costume, wearing the underoos on the outside and a blue Superman shirt and a black cape with gold on the inside because it's what I had. And but and it was so crazy. And my grandmother was a professional seamstress, and so uh, I I was a cosplayer before cosplay was really a thing. Like, I would just go around town, just walking around in a Superman. There were people who thought I was like clinically insane, I think. Like,
Yeah.
but it was just I had an
Just
intense interest in this stuff, and I just thought it was fun to do, and I wanted to do it, so I did. And when you do that, you're not going to escape, like, people, especially back in the 80s and the 90s. You're going to get a certain kind of attention, and if you're not ready for that, it's kind of it's an adjustment period. But I will say I'm glad to have had that, because as I've gotten older, you see people who are, oh, this has happened to me and that's happened to me, and how do I deal with this and this and this? Is having had that experience, it's like, well, you learn to tell people to kiss off. And you learn to tell people, it's like, look, I enjoy what I enjoy, and that's it. You don't like it, I mean, good for you,
yeah,
I guess. And I think sometimes, and now that seems combative, that seems confrontational, but it's not, because it's important for other people to get that message, because then there's something that they like, there's something that they're into, and it gives them the permission to go, yeah, I like this, I enjoy this, this is something that makes me feel good, this is something that's not harming anybody, it's just fun.
correct.
And being able to do that for myself, but also to kind of give that to other people too, uh it's empowering, it's just fun, it's just a good time, and it kind of uh pulls the social stick out. It's the best
Yeah.
way I can describe it. um and as the fandoms have expanded over the years, as as I've gotten into new things, and I'm still I just recently discovered a new one. And it's these things are a joy, these things are fun, and that's one of the reasons that I started the Jack Life channel. EAP Society is all about Elvis, but Jack Life's going to be nerd culture in general. But yeah, so anyway, I don't mean to bogart the conversation, but I just
No, please.
wanted to put that out there to everybody, to know, like, if you got something that you love, uh share it, talk about it. I mean, like, if somebody's obviously not interested, well, then find somebody else to talk about that stuff with. But, like, uh enjoy what you enjoy, and don't worry about if somebody else isn't super wild about it.
Yeah.
That's okay. And you know what? The other thing I think is important is, if somebody's talking to you about something that they enjoy, um, take that time to talk to them about it and see what it is that they love about that. And maybe you'll find a new perspective. Maybe you'll find something new that you love, that you didn't realize you needed in your life.
Yeah.
And but it's all about that openness of mind. And I think that that's important socially, as just as human beings, interacting with one another, but also in personal growth. I think it's an important thing. So
Yeah. No, I totally agree. And I think that, you know, listening and seeing their perspective, and then maybe giving it a shot, saying, hey, this might be something, because for me, one of the things that I do a lot, and for those that know me, know that I'm a huge Firefly fan. And, anyone who's very familiar with Firefly will know that I am currently in the cargo bay of the Firefly class transport Serenity. Um, and I'm wearing one of Jane Cobb's t-shirts. And Firefly has been something that I have used my nerd passion to try and get others interested in. And for a long time, I have multiple copies of the DVD, and I would call them my brown coat recruitment copies, and I would just lend them out to people and say, watch it. And I would give them out as birthday presents, as wedding presents, as any, party I had to go to where I had to bring a gift. Here, you get a copy of Firefly. And a lot of people have fallen in love with it thanks to me. And I'm very happy, and in definitely conversation. And I will say that I have seen people that I knew a long time ago, like people in high school, because I have a lot of friends that are in high school that I went to high school with on Facebook, and we have, a Facebook group for our graduating class, and I see a lot more nerds amongst them now. And I'm wondering if back in the day, you just didn't talk about it because you were going to be labeled a nerd. But now all of a sudden, all these people are like, oh, you guys watch Star Trek too? Fantastic. I had no idea, And looks like we have a question from one of our viewers, Trevor Hawkins. He says, when was the first time that you were grateful for your particular interests?
That's a good question. First time is kind of tough for me just because I've been a nerd for deep in nerddom to whatever degree for so long. That's like literally longer than I have recognizable memory. So the first time that I one of the first times was we were at a rest stop in Illinois in 1986. And my parents and we were driving, I can't remember, I think it was coming back from Memphis to Elvis Week. And we saw a black and white drawing that you could color.
Okay.
About a town called Metropolis, Illinois. And I went nuts. Me sitting there in my He-Man t-shirt. I saw this Superman thing, and I'm like, oh my God, we have to go. And it wasn't too far away. And so, the folks, drove me over. Yes, I've got pictures. I've got pictures of me around. Not the new statue, obviously. That one didn't go up until the mid 90s, but yeah. We called it Squat Man because the proportions were a little.
I've seen pictures of Squat Man.
Yeah. I loved Squat Man back in the day. I just thought that was the coolest thing. Just the fact that a town, and at the time I thought they named themselves Metropolis because of Superman. I didn't know any of the history, right? And so I was so happy as a Superman fan. I was so happy that there was a town called Metropolis. I didn't care. I was 6. I didn't care how many people lived there. I didn't care that there was no real Daily Planet or whatever. Didn't bother me one iota. And it was such a joy. So that's a time. Anytime I've gotten the opportunity to meet anyone that was involved in any of the various things that I'm a fan of, like the actors in the Twilight films and some of the various experiences in that, all of the Elvis people that we've been able to meet, all of the doors that have been opened there. Um, Actually, I guess if I had to pick something, the earliest I started singing when I was 3, and I started singing because of my interest in Elvis. That was my inspiration to sing. And my dad had a band, so so it was between Elvis and my dad that were my influences to get me started in music. And you know, so I think back to that, but even at the time, it was just that was that was my earliest passion, was being
Mhm.
on stage. So yeah.
So for me, um, I don't know. I've like I said, I've always been a nerd. And I talk about it, um, and start talking about it, um, more so as I got older. I think when I was in elementary school, in maybe middle school, I was kind of, but I guess I didn't realize what it was being a nerd then. I drew tons of pictures.
Yep.
I have this whole superhero team, all these heroes, all these villains, and my dream was to be a comic book artist and one
Hmm.
day have these heroes published at DC, fighting alongside the Justice League. And of course, that never
Yeah.
happened. But um, I I think I became grateful once I became old enough to be able to branch out on my own and do things myself.
Yep.
Like, so I guess that would be um, like going to Metropolis for the first time. When I first went to Metropolis, let's see, it was 90, no, it was 2008. So I was
Hmm.
38 years old the first time I went to Metropolis. And before then, I will say I'll talk about like conventions, going to like Comic Cons and stuff. And Metropolis has some of that,
Yeah.
but it is much more like a county fair, like a festival, a family fun time, a lot of outdoor stuff. But there are areas that have like convention type stuff where you can go in and look through comics and action figures and other things that you would find at cons. Um, but I had been to a comic convention here locally, um, maybe a couple when I was younger. Um, and then I had gone to a Star Trek convention when I was in college living in Chicago.
Yep.
But those were like one-offs where I would hear about, oh, there's going to be a Star Trek, let me go, or there's going to be a local Comic Con, let me go. But I wasn't always paying attention to that stuff. And then in 2008, I went to Metropolis, and like you, you know, I remember hearing about Metropolis when I was a young kid, and I gotta think that it was in one of the magazines. I don't know if it was Starlog magazine or maybe it was even Dynamite magazine or one of those magazines. I remember seeing something where there was a little blurb about Metropolis, and that if it was named Metropolis, and they embraced the Superman culture, and if you went to the Chamber of Commerce, you could get a little bag of kryptonite rocks or something,
Yep.
and I was like, in my head, I was like, you know what? Someday in the future, you're going to go to that chamber and get those kryptonite rocks. And that was like my bucket list, going
Right.
to Metropolis to get the kryptonite rocks. And hello, I'm blurry.
Yeah. I
Um,
just saw that.
so let's come back in. Okay. Okay. Going to Metropolis to get the kryptonite rocks was going to be my thing. not knowing, I was like, okay, I'd be there. And I didn't know that they had a statue or anything like that. And I was just like, we'll get the rocks and that'll be it. And that'll be fine.
Yep.
But 2008, I went to Metropolis. Holy cow. My life changed. And I originally had intended for that to be the first and only time that I went. I mean,
Right.
I wasn't 100% sure it was going to be the only time, but I was expecting to go to experience a few things, have some fun, come home, and then that would be something I could always talk about. I remember that time I went to Metropolis. That was fun.
Yeah. Well, because in your head, you almost look at it like a Comic-Con, like it's
Yeah.
not something that, but once you get there, it's a very different kind of experience. Yep.
Am I blurry?
A tiny bit. Yep.
Okay.
Do you have a brighter light?
Well, maybe. I'm going to just.
Yeah, that's okay. Yeah, you go ahead. You do that, and anyway, Kristen, happy Nerdsgiving to you too. And yeah, for anybody that has not been to Metropolis, it's just so crazy good. But yeah, let's see. I just went to Metropolis and first went to Metropolis in 2017. This is Kristen. Went to Metropolis in 2017, and I fully expected it to be a one-off, and I'd have, all my meals alone. Yeah, that doesn't happen. Everybody, it's a whole group. It becomes a family. And,
okay.
Yeah.
Well, go on. I'll say when you're done.
Oh, I was just gonna say that's exactly what it is. It really is like it becomes like a family reunion where occasionally a Superman celebrity or Superman related celebrity is interesting, but that's not the main reason that we go. Main reason we go is to see everybody and just to have fun and enjoy talking Superman,
Absolutely. And so what you say, Kristen, is so very true, because the first year, 2008, I decided to go, and I didn't know, of course, anybody. I was just going to be there by myself. I fully expected to have all my meals alone, and just walk around. And the Chamber of Commerce, they run the Superman Celebration website, supermancelebration.net. And if you go there, it gives you all the information you want to know about Superman Celebration and who the guests are going to be and stuff about sponsorships and whatnot. And when I first went to the website, they had forums that were connected to the website. And you could go to the Superman Celebration forums and chat with other Superman nerds who would talk about the celebration in addition to other nerdy Superman stuff and other nerdy stuff in general. And so I went to the message boards and said, hey, I'm going to be coming to the Superman celebration this year. What can I expect? And what I was expecting when I went to these message boards was to get some information from some people that had been there. Basically, here's what you can expect. Here are things you can do. And I would say, thank you very much. And then I'd go to the celebration and come home, and that would be it. Well, I got trapped on the message boards, thankfully, because there were a ton of people there, and they were also very friendly. And a good large number of these people are now some of the best friends I have in the entire world. And when I went to Metropolis the very first year, they welcomed me in. And we are a large group now that call ourselves the Super Friends of Metropolis. And it was great. And I left that year saying to myself, you are going to go back next year and the year after and the year after. And there have been a couple of years when there have been things that have made me not go. COVID was one of them. My cousin's wedding was another one. But most of the time, I try to go every single year. And after that first year, I got contacted by one of the friends I had made, Stephanie. Um, and it's the second full weekend in June every year is when Metropolis Superman Celebration is. And so after the celebration, like toward the end of June, I had gotten contacted by my friend Stephanie, saying that some of the Super Friends were going to a convention in Ohio called Screaming Tiki Con. And hey, you should come. And in my head, I was like, oh, you know what? I don't think. And she's like, it's only 4 hours away from where you live. And I was like, oh, well then. So I went to Screaming Tiki Con, and then I realized, you know what? I can go to these things because before, where I had gone to a con here or a con there, I wasn't someone who I don't know why I never thought that I should just start looking for them and going to them. But we went to Screaming Tiki Con. That was super fun. And that was that was the inaugural Screaming Tiki Con. We went to the second one and next year, and that was really fun. Unfortunately, they no longer have those cons, but then I would meet up with Super Friends at various other cons in Detroit. We went to some in Toronto, and it was really fun. And to get back to Trevor's question, when was the first time that I was grateful for my particular interest? Probably once I realized that with all the friends I had made in Metropolis and all of the nerd interests that we shared, that it was okay to just, to meet up with them, go to these places and do the cons. And I've also been a lifelong fan of Halloween. And for me, I always loved dressing up and going out trick-or-treating. And the favorite houses that I used to always love when we would go out trick-or-treating were the houses in which they engaged with you.
Yeah.
So the homeowner had spooky music playing. The homeowner dressed in costume. The homeowner made it a very creepy experience. And I always said to myself, when I eventually age out of trick-or-treating, I want to be that person that runs that creepy house that the kids love to go to for Halloween.
Yeah.
And so I started what I call Steve's House of Death. It's just something I call it myself. It's not like the neighborhood knows about that that's what it's called, but it's Steve's House of Death. And I do it at my parents' house, and I've been doing it for over 30 years. And it is so much fun, and the kids love it. But also, having been a lifelong fan of Halloween and costuming, now going to conventions, now going to Metropolis to the Superman celebration, cosplay, dressing up in costume when it's not October 31st has become something I seriously enjoy.
Yeah.
And I have Halloween to, I have Halloween to thank for getting me the costume bug and also helping me with learning some of the makeup techniques and other things that I can now do when I am dressing in costume for, whether I'm Bizarro or Two-Face or whatever I happen to be. It's really fun.
Yeah. That's awesome. I love that. And I see Kristen, I had asked a staff member a question. She took my picture so she could tell other people to look for me to be my friend. That's See, and that's the thing that's great about Metropolis is it really is family, and it's all about building and getting, more people coming, and it really is special. And but yeah, and it's one of those things about, because I'd been dressing up, like I said, since before I can remember, but Metropolis was a place where multiple people did that. And I mean, I was one of the first, but I wasn't the first. So so that being a place where people are encouraged to do that, I have so much love and respect and thankfulness for, because again, it's kind of like that whole, teaching everybody this is okay. It's fun. It's a joy. If you dig it, do it. And and that's, speaking of Halloween, one of the things that I'm super thankful for is Halloween this year lasted pretty much the whole month for me. In a lot of ways, but and multiple characters. I spent Thursdays, and I spent 2 weeks, Thursday and Sunday, I was Superman. And I think by far the best hair and makeup job I've ever done for Superman, because I used some semi-permanent dye to get my hair black, and then I used some neon blue pomade to go in the hair so it looked like, had like the neon.
You had blue hair, right? Yes.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's it was, and I wanted the neon blue so it had the comic book shine, and way I could put it in specific spots where and the reactions, like some of the others, there are other people there that kids would go, oh, is that real? And then they look up at me and they go, oh, I think that's the real Superman, which is just great. But then irony of ironies, every Friday and Saturday in October, except for the first weekend when I was in Denmark with shows, I was Jack Sparrow at Zombie Hollow. And Zombie Hollow does all these amazing things, like kind of like, you wanted to be the person with the cool kind of haunted house sort of thing. I wanted that, but like I want the budget to be an Imagineer, like on my own time. Mm-hmm. So, and that's basically what Zombie Hollow is it's like a whole family. That's their thing for October. And they have this whole area. They have like an acre or 2 acres or whatever it is. And there's an area that's an homage to Haunted Mansion. There's an area that's an homage to Pirates. And so I was there as Jack Sparrow, and they've got animatronics, like the old school Disney style animatronics, and so many other things too. And it's just like, wow, this is the kind of immersion, like immersing people into something that they can get some kind of concentrated joy or thrill out of, because I'm a performer. That's my thing. So everything kind of filters through that prism for me. And like being able to do that was so much fun. And like, that's like the most recent thing that, like, as a nerd, I'm thankful for, because Lou and his wife and the whole family, they're lovely. They're wonderful. Just go to Zombie Hollow. Check out Zombie Hollow on Facebook. They're in the winters. They're just outside of Winterset in Iowa. And tickets are cheap. They're like $18 if you buy them in advance. It's only in October for now.
Yeah.
But it's a lot of fun to go to. And it's very likely that this is going to be a yearly thing.
Oh, that's great.
So my Octobers are spoken for the next forever. But like we talked about, it'd be fun to do something He-Man, like he loves putting new stuff together. Sure. And like he'd love to do something like with a He-Man theme or something with the new movie coming out. And he's got a ton of 3D printers and a bunch of different things, and really enjoys, okay, this is what we want to do. How do we figure that out?
Mm-hmm.
And that's just, I love that. I absolutely adore that. So yeah.
So I will say, being a nerd, part of me was always wondering because, I think one of the quintessential, um, I guess, points when someone thinks of a nerd, one of the most quintessential aspects of being a nerd is, do you like Star Trek? And if you're a Trekkie, then you obviously are a nerd.
Yeah.
And growing up, I always found myself wondering, okay, I like Star Trek, I like Superman, I like all this crazy stuff. Am I going to find somebody that I can share my life with that will embrace, maybe not embrace, but at least let me have my nerd things? Like, okay, I'm going to find some woman who, okay, I'd like to, maybe have a girlfriend or something. And if she's not going to watch Star Trek, okay. But if she's okay with me watching Star Trek, she's okay with me, watching Firefly and being a nerd, that's fine, and if she wants to do whatever she wants to do, she can let me play video games. And my wife, who's over there playing a video game right now, is giggling. Because the first time that I met her, I was talking about Star Trek and Firefly, and she was interested in what I had to say.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh. But I'm a nerd, so it took me 2 weeks to ask her out. And
sure.
And when I asked her to marry me, I mumbled, and I don't think I actually spoke English.
Okay, I understood.
She understood where I was getting at, though. So, but yeah, and as Firefly fans, we ended up getting married and having a brown coat wedding.
That's amazing.
And we got married on September 20th, which is Unification Day within the universe of Firefly. It's the glorious day for all the proud members of the Allied Planets. And when we got married, we decided we wanted to get married on Unification Day. And the year that I say we got married in 2014, in September, in June, I went to Metropolis, and a good friend of mine, his name is David Gibb, and David cosplays as Malcolm Reynolds from Firefly. And I've gone to Toronto Fan Fair with him. No, it was Toronto, Wizard World Toronto. I've been to a couple of cons in Toronto with Dave, and been to one in Detroit with him, and I see him in Metropolis. And so he frequently dresses as Malcolm Reynolds, and he's also dressed as Indiana Jones and some others. But so Rebecca said to me, what if we had a brown coat wedding and we invited Dave and see if maybe he would marry us as Malcolm Reynolds?
That's cool.
And so I saw Dave in Metropolis in June of 2014, and I said, Rebecca and I, we're engaged, because we had already announced our engagement. We got engaged on Christmas Eve 2013. And so we knew, everyone knew we were getting married. And I said to Dave, we're getting married on Unification Day in September. We're going to have a brown coat wedding. And he's like, let me guess, you want to have Malcolm Reynolds do the ceremony? I'm like, yes. So he ended up getting a certification with the Universal Life Church so that he could marry us. And this is us. We were at my mother-in-law's farm, and Rebecca wore a brown dress, and in lieu of flowers, she carried Kaylee's parasol, and I wore my brown coat at the wedding. And David Gibb married us.
I love it.
And the paper that he has in his hand, he married us, and he was in character as Malcolm Reynolds. And spoiler alert for those that haven't seen Firefly, but in the movie, one of the characters, Shepard Book, dies. Yep. And he is what's called a shepherd, which is kind of like a preacher. And so the story that David as Mal told was that Shepard Book was originally supposed to marry Rebecca and I, and had notes already written about some of the things he was going to say at our wedding. But because he had passed on, it fell to Mal to marry us as captain. And so he took Shepard's notes and kind of worked some of his own stuff in with Shepard's notes, and then basically, gave the speech that Shepard would have given, but with a little bit of Mal flair to it.
I love that. I love the character moment in that. That's beautiful.
Yes, and it was super fun. And so what we did was we got married on the 14th, which was a Saturday. Or no, 2014, but the 20th, which was a Saturday. It was a fairly small wedding with just like some immediate family and close friends. And it was in the back field of my mother-in-law's farm. And Stephanie, who I mentioned before, was there, and she has a dress that one of the characters from Firefly, River, wears in one of the final scenes in Serenity. There's a battle scene, and River's wearing this dress. It's a DKNY dress, and Stephanie has that actual dress, not the one from the movie, but that DKNY dress.
Yeah, and the same kind of dress. Yeah,
and she was there as River. I had another friend that came dressed as one of the characters, Badger. And it was just really, really fun. And then the very next day, at a state park in the area, we had a bigger reception with a lot more family. And we said that anyone that wanted to come dressed in costume, feel free to dress in costume. I wore my Jane Cobb shirt, and I have a Jane Cobb hat, and I wore the Jane Cobb hat. And I know one of our nieces dressed as Robin, Batman's sidekick. Yep. But we didn't have a lot of people dressed in costume, but it was basically just come casual. It's a wedding reception, but it's outside. It's in September. It's a nice, it was going to be a warm day, so just come dressed however you want. And it was great. It was a good time. And so every year, when it's our anniversary, I also know that it is the anniversary of the premiere of Firefly, because that Firefly premiered on September 20th, which is also considered Unification Day. So,
okay, yeah, very cool. I'd forgotten when the day Firefly aired, so that's really cool.
2002.
Yep.
And Fox aired 11 of 14 episodes.
Yeah, starting with the train. Yeah, starting with the train.
Starting with the train job. Yes, they aired the episodes out of order.
Yep.
and the premiere episode, the pilot episode, I guess, which is called Serenity, not to be confused with the movie that followed up in 2005 to wrap up some of the plot lines, also called Serenity. But the two-part premiere, Serenity, it was like a 2-hour premiere. That was the last episode they aired of the series before they finally pulled the plug completely.
Oof.
And I, unfortunately, am not someone who can say that they were a Firefly fan from the original days when it was on Fox. I remember seeing commercials for it, and then all of a sudden, I'm like, that looks good. I want to watch it. And next thing I know, where'd it go? Yeah. But the people that did watch it were angry. They're like, okay, we're watching this. We're starting like the train job, but we don't know. We haven't gotten really a backstory on some of these characters, and then all of a sudden they get all the information they want on the very last episode of the show before it's canceled, and then don't even get to see the final episodes until it comes out on DVD. Which, by the way, when it came out on DVD, sold like hotcakes because everyone that watched it when it was on Fox loved it enough to tell all their friends, when this comes out on DVD, you got to buy this because it's fantastic. And the DVD sales went through the roof. And that caused Universal Studios to take notice and make a movie based on it with the original cast and the creator, director, writer, Joss Whedon. He wrote and directed the film, and didn't do well enough to make the planned sequels that he had in mind. But it was a great film, and it really tied up a lot of the loose ends and questions.
Another picture of guests in costume.
Oh, and let's see. I've got another picture of some of our guests in costume. Oh, here we go. There's one.
And then the other one's just cute.
And one more. Hold on. There's River and Badger.
Oh, that's great.
Yes. Yeah, it was really, really fun. And yeah, and then that is my stepfather-in-law Fred and my niece Mimi, who is much older than that now. But yeah, that was that. And I didn't watch Firefly until later. My brother pointed it out to me. We were out shopping at a like a media store at one point, and he pointed it out when we were looking at the DVDs back when stores had like all racks of DVDs and movies and TV shows. And he pointed out Firefly. He says, this is supposed to be fantastic. And so every time I would go back to the store, I would always pick it up and look at it. And he ended up buying it for me for my birthday. And we watched it together, and we both fell in love with it. And it is my favorite TV show of all time. And there's just so much to love. I will say, one of the things is when we got married. One of the characters, his name is Wash, played by Alan Tudyk, who most people know from, well, where would you not know him from?
Yeah, he's been in everything. Like he's
Alien. He's the resident alien. He is the droid in many droids, but I think he was the droid in Rogue One, and
Superman.
Superman. He was number 4.
Yep. Gary.
I mean, and Gary. I like Gary. If you haven't seen Superman, go see it. I saw it 5 times. It's great.
Oh, it's phenomenal. I just picked up the 4K, and He plays. If you haven't seen him, I'm sure you've seen him, but if you haven't seen him, you've definitely heard him, because he was also he was Clayface and the Joker in the Harley Quinn cartoon on HBO,
Oh, yeah.
which is phenomenal. He does such a good job. He's been on Disney things. He's been in so many things. But yeah, sorry, continue.
Yes. No, that's okay. So, but in addition to, my nerddom for sci-fi and other things, I've also been a lifelong dinosaur nerd. I love dinosaurs. I loved them as a kid. I never grew out of loving them.
Yeah.
And Firefly, one of the characters in Firefly, played by Alan Tudyk, Wash, he also is a dinosaur nerd.
Yep.
And he plays with dinosaurs. He's got a whole bunch of dinosaur toys that he has. He's the pilot of the Firefly, of the ship, the Firefly class transport Serenity, in the show Firefly. And on the flight console and everything, he has a whole bunch of dinosaurs, and he plays with them and makes them talk to one another and fight each other. And so I had a goal to find those dinosaurs, because as a dinosaur nerd and a Firefly nerd, hey, it's the best of both worlds.
Yep.
So I wanted to find those dinosaurs. Turns out that those dinosaurs are not sold in those colors. Those colors that you see there were painted by the production company. So
interesting.
Yes. So, but I found some dinosaurs that originally I thought were those dinosaurs, and they are 95%. There are a couple. One of the legs is a different shape, and on the one dinosaur, and the plates on the back of the Stegosaurus are a slightly different shape. But I found them, and when we got married, we didn't have a cake. We had cupcakes. And instead of having a Mr. and Mrs., because we got married as a brown coat wedding, I had the dinosaurs, and I dressed them up as a bride and groom.
Oh, that's awesome.
So, yeah, Stegosaurus here is the bride, and Ceratosaurus is the groom.
That's great.
But turns out those were they were slight variants on the correct dinosaurs. So I have since gotten multiple copies of the correct dinosaurs, but they are different colors. They're the wrong colors. So this is the colors of Wash's dinosaurs on the show. And one of my COVID lockdown things I did was I painted the dinosaurs to match Wash's.
I love it.
And I could only use screen caps, because I have a number of Firefly books, and that have pictures of all the different props and all the different things from the show.
Yep.
These two dinosaurs are mysteriously missing from the books, and I have contacted. I've been on a number of Firefly forums and websites and groups. One being a Firefly props group, and one of the guys on the Firefly props group worked in the props department for Firefly. And I put a question one time about the dinosaurs. When I wanted to paint them, I was hoping to find some good full color close-up images of the hero dinosaurs used on the show so I could paint them exact. Apparently they've gone missing. Nobody knows where they are. Well, somebody knows where they are.
Yeah, I was gonna say maybe Alan took them home.
I'm wondering about that.
Yeah.
So
I
because
can see that.
I believe that those dinosaurs, although not close up, not played with, but I think that I've seen them in the movie Serenity. So they were still around at Serenity Point. But they've disappeared. So I just had to take that screen grab that I showed before of him with dinosaurs like this. And there's, I've watched the video of him from the series, play with them. So I was able to, I think, approximate the best I could for them.
That's cool.
Yes.
I love that. Like, I just kind of give you something along those lines. So for those of you at home who might not know, this is an actual swatch of Elvis Presley's wallpaper from Graceland.
Huh.
And so this was given to me. I'm just going to get it in real close so you can see.
Yes.
Anyway, so what's interesting about this is there's gold. There's like a gold fleck in the outlines on this.
Yeah.
And it's actually like basket weave.
Yeah, I can see that
stuff.
Yeah.
It's actually, it's not flat. And I thought, well, I can't imagine anybody making anything like that these days. Well, I found a place that comes pretty close. And that is, yeah. So I'm pretty sure that this looked a little closer to that when it was like new. But one of the things that it's not going to be anytime soon, but for the set for EAP Society, we've recreated the living room of Graceland. And I did just flat like paper using this as a pattern, making a pattern from this. But what I'm going to do eventually is, you know, you're talking about painting. I'm going to get, it's going to cost about $1,000 in wallpaper, which is insane. It's like $330 per roll of like 72 whatever feet of wallpaper. And anyway, and because it's not quite exact, after whenever the time is that I get this, I'm going to put it up on the wall, and then I'm going to get some stain because I'm a psycho, and little bit of gold, little bit of like slightly tan, you know.
That's great.
Yeah, so I hear you when it comes to like meticulous painting to get something exactly.
Well, so
I've been there.
Saying that, so that's a swatch. Now, is that a swatch from a roll that was used, or is that taken from the wall?
Now, this was because over time, certain parts would get worn.
Yeah.
And so this is from, I guess this is from one of the worn areas. So they'd have to take a roll, whatever, like wherever it was off, because it doesn't like match. I mean, it matches up, but it's not going to be perfect. So they'd have to take that whole roll off the wall. So this
what
is
you're saying is that particular piece of wallpaper right there may have been in the room witnessing when the Beatles visited him at Graceland and they just jammed at the piano.
Well, they actually didn't visit Graceland. They visited the LA home.
Okay.
So this wouldn't have,
seen that.
A lot of other people, Jerry Lee Lewis, when Jerry Lee Lewis visited, that would have been on, very likely was on the wall. Let's see. Well, no. I take that back, because that would have been the 50s and the walls were blue. That didn't start until sometime in the 60s.
Okay.
So it would have been sometime in the 60s. But yeah, let's see. But yeah, so no, it's a little bit on the later side, but that's what's on the wall. That style of wallpaper is what's on the wall now.
Yeah.
They just have a lot more of it, I guess. And that way they can, if they need to replace something, then
sure.
There's extra. But so eventually,
very nice.
Eventually we'll have, and this is the reel, and that's the But
very cool.
Oh yeah, it's fun. And then for Jacklife, we're actually I'm talking with Lou from Zombie Hollow about doing a stone look that's actually 3D, because right now for Jacklife we've used like a It's essentially a curtain. It just looks really good on camera.
Mhm.
But we want to actually do like foam panels that will go up on the wall to give that that um, that stone castle,
Okay.
kind of a look. But yeah. uh, but yeah. Then now this is kind of interesting. I want to kind of blend into a couple of things. So another thing for Nerdsgiving this year, the first Twilight book turned 20 this year,
Okay.
which is crazy. It's kind of wild to think about, but I was lucky enough to I was lucky enough to get contacted by the folks for Bonnie Clevering, and she's had a long career in like hair and continuity shots and things like that, and
Okay.
has worked on, oh gosh, there's just a ton, like uh RoboCop, Any Given Sunday, all the Twilight movies. She's worked with Al Pacino, Tim Allen, Tom Cruise, and Gene Hackman, so Barbara Streisand, so many different people, Catherine Zeta-Jones. And she worked on all of the Twilight films. And this is a production still for continuity for, oh, here, I'll do it here so you can see it
Yeah,
in
I see
both
it.
shots. And well, the mobile people
Oh,
wouldn't have seen it, so
yeah.
I was doing it for both. So this is Bonnie Clevering, and so she worked on all of the Twilight films, but one of her first jobs was on Speedway with Nancy Sinatra and Elvis Presley.
Oh, very cool.
As a matter of fact, Elvis wanted her on all of his future movies. Now, he wasn't going to do all that many more after Speedway, but they didn't know that at the time. And because the 60 comeback and the live stuff wasn't in the works quite yet. Or if it was, it's very early stages, so they didn't know what was going to happen with that.
Mhm.
But yeah, and she actually she turned him down because she didn't want to be quite that busy, because they thought there was going to be like another 3 movies a year for
Yeah.
who knows how long, right? And but really interesting, and I'm going to be talking with her on EAP Society and Jack Life. We're going to do some giveaways and things, and so that's another really cool, both Twilight and Elvis thing that I'm really thankful for. Is
Yeah.
her team has been lovely. We've talked about a lot of different ideas and things that we'd like to see on a collaborative sense. So, and as I talk with her on these things, I want to see about otherworldly fundraising as well. So,
Oh, cool. Yeah. Well, her job is so incredibly important because
yeah,
I can't tell you how often I'm watching a TV show or a movie and I'm like, who is paying attention to continuity? You got a guy that's like shaving and he's got shaving cream here and here, and you cut to the scene and you can tell that the shaving cream, half of it's gone. And then he
yeah,
turns back and it's back. And I'm going, what's happening?
yep,
You need someone to pay attention more.
yep, 100%. That's the whole point. And what's cool is these were given out to people who put in a special code, and this is not a copy. This is the original that she wrote on for the
Oh, very
scene.
nice.
And so
Wow.
that's, yeah. And she's got a larger book that's coming out in February. And so we're going to be talking about, as a means of helping promote that.
Yeah.
And so yeah, so that's really, really cool. Now, anybody who's any of the super friends understand that my Superman was not like, I mean, I love the movies. I love all of the movies. And I do want to talk about the new movie. Well, I can mention the new movie as well, because I'm very, very thankful for that. But the
Yes,
other
me too.
thing, as a Superman fan of the Triangle era of comics specifically, Volume 2 came out, and it goes all the way up to the funeral for a friend. This thing is gorgeous. They actually went back and they recolored everything beautifully.
Oh.
There we go.
Oh.
Yeah, like they replaced the old the old color printing with digital, and it looks amazing. This is the kind of work that I've been wanting, and honestly, and I'll tell you this, the best place to get these things is on eBay. Because because you can literally find them for half price if you're patient and you look.
So that contains what? Superman, Man of Steel, Action Comics, and because the Triangle, for those that don't know, so you have Action Comics number 576, you have Superman number 204, you have Man of Steel number 112. So they're all different, but the Triangle started with number 1 when they started telling something, and then number 2 number 1 might be in Action Comics number 514. Number 2 might be Man of Steel number 312, and number 3 might be Superman number 144. But what you're doing is, that you're supposed to read those comics in that order. Don't just read Superman followed by the next Superman followed by the next Superman, because the Triangle meant we're doing this huge long story arc, and if you want to get the entire story, start with Triangle number 1 and read numerically by Triangle.
Yeah, exactly. And this covers February of 1992 until April of 1993. And so it's not a long time, but that's because there were so many books. Like, for instance, just to give you an idea, it starts with one of my all-time favorite Superman stories ever, Superman 64, called Metropolis Mailbag. It's a Christmas story, actually. And so Superman number 64, and then Adventures of Superman number 487, and then Action Comics number 674, and then Man of Steel number 9, and all of this kind of thing. And so this is volume 2. Volume 1 was the start, obviously the start of the Triangle era up until like January of 92. And so these are absolutely beautiful, and they retail, like I said, for $150. But if you know where to go, eBay, you can get it for half or less. So I'm very thankful, 1, to be able to get it, and 2, to be able to get it for so much less than what it goes for.
You're very thankful for eBay.
I am. Sorry, I've got I don't have a very long headphone cord, so
when you turn your head, it kind of pulls.
It kind of pulls everything that direction. Speaking of Superman and eBay, I did not know this. Did you know that there were Superman comics Happy Meal toys in like 1994, 95?
No, not that I remember.
Oh, actually, no. This is 1996. Look at this.
Huh.
I didn't know.
He's got the long hair.
Yeah.
He's just come back from the dead, and he let his hair grow for a while. And for those that look at that and go, "Oh, he's got a mullet." No, he did not have a mullet.
Exactly. It's like Fabio's hair.
Long hair in the back. He just let his hair grow and didn't cut it.
Yep. And
John Henry Irons.
Yep.
Very cool.
Yeah. And there's a Lois Lane one, which I thought was really interesting. Lois Lane figures in anything are kind of on the rare side. And then the
Yeah.
other one is Superman in gold, which is it's not within reach.
Yeah, sure.
But yeah, so I had to share those with you because those were some recent things, and they're from Australia. They were only they were McDonald's Happy Meals in Australia, and that's the only place they were. And I'm just thinking,
Wow.
I would have loved that at the time.
Yeah. Well,
but
the question is, what were the Happy Meal boxes on the outside like? Were they Superman?
Yeah.
Huh.
I wasn't able to get those. I wasn't crazy about the prices I saw, but a lot of, I think most of the artwork was John Bogdanov, if I remember correctly. And there's a lot of the stuff that we've seen on like those mid 90s Superman things, but still,
Yeah.
But yeah, so and I'll speaking, since we're on a Superman kick at the moment, I'll let you start if you want to talk about one of the things that I know I'm thankful for, and that is the new movie.
Oh, yes.
Very, very, very happy.
Yeah, did you get the Heat Vision popcorn popper?
No, I wanted to, but it's the price is out of my range, and if that ever changes, great. But yeah, I probably won't at this point.
I have it back there. It's somewhere behind me, but so the movie, I said before, I saw it 4 or 5 times. I loved it very much so.
Same.
So Superman for me lately has been very interesting because I have been a fan for my whole life, and I am someone, and there are a lot of people that felt this way, but I am someone that really embraced Henry Cavill and the Zack Snyder films. And I know a lot of people had issues with the fact that Superman killed General Zod at the end of the first movie, and Superman's never supposed to kill anyone. Well, he had no choice. Well, yeah, he did have a choice. It was the writers that didn't give him that choice.
Right.
And they very easily could have.
Yep. That's definitely my thing. That was my position.
But I love the look. I love the costume. I loved the realism in that Zack Snyder said, let's take a look at how would the world respond if a character of godlike power came down to Earth. We're not going to embrace him as soon as he saves Lois Lane and grabs the helicopter. We're going to turn and run away because we're like, what is this? We're going to be scared. We're not going to say, what a nice man. But one thing I will say regarding Man of Steel, I love all the Snyder films. I do wonder, I kind of would have liked to see Man of Steel with someone other than Zod.
Yeah.
Maybe introduce Zod in the beginning and have him put into Phantom Zone. But because for the realism that I wanted Superman to show up as himself without Zod, putting fear into everyone, because I want to know how they react, because they were reacting partially because Zod made them all afraid.
Right.
And the military, he went in, surrendered to them. They put him in handcuffs. Oh no, he's in handcuffs. How can he ever get out? But I often wonder what the movie would have been, how they would have reacted without the aspect of the Zod storyline. But we never got that, and I'm very happy with what we got. But what I will say was, there were plenty of people that didn't like it.
Yep.
For reasons already discussed about Zod,
Yep.
you know. And I got into numerous discussions with people online about it. You know, I had people say that if you like this movie, then you're not a real Superman fan.
Right.
And how dare you, sir?
Right.
You don't know me, and you don't know how Superman has impacted my life. You can't just say that I'm not a real Superman fan.
Right.
When the whole Snyderverse and the whole DC universe, DCEU, the DC Extended Universe, switched, and they decided we're going to go someplace else. We're going to have James Gunn come in.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, okay, let's try it. Let's give this a chance. You know, yes, would I like more Snyderverse? Sure. And the fact that the Snyderverse, and in more so the Arrowverse on TV with the Flash and Arrow and Supergirl and whatnot, opened up the possibility of the multiverse within the DC universe.
Yeah.
And they did even open it up to the Snyderverse, because in one of the episodes of Flash, Ezra Miller's Flash from Justice League movie was in the Flash TV show.
Mm.
So we know that the multiverse exists. So I have happiness knowing that the Snyderverse is in existence, just another multiverse somewhere within the DC multiverse universe. So I know that it's there. And if we revisit it someday, I'd be okay with that. But when I knew that we were going to move on and do something new, I said, great, because I'm a Superman fan. I'm not going to be beholden to any one particular Superman and dislike all others. And so I was very much waiting for this new movie to come out and getting really excited. And when it came out, you know, I went and saw it with my friend Stephanie and Dave, who married Rebecca and I, and Dave's girlfriend Beverly. We met in Buffalo and we saw it, and it was so good. I was very happy to see Crypto, because, you know, we'd never seen Crypto in live action before. And I was okay with jumping into the middle of Superman's life. I mean, not the middle, still somewhat early on in his career, but not having to go through the origin again.
Right.
Because we all know Superman's origin. We don't need to know his backstory, you know, and they gave you a briefest backstory in text at the very beginning, just to here's what's going on. But then to just jump in, and then to know that there are that there are other superheroes in the world, that the Green Lantern Corps does exist. Shout out to Firefly's Nathan Fillion for being in the movie as Green Lantern Guy Gardner.
So good. He was so good at it too.
Oh, he played Guy Gardner so well, because Guy Gardner is a jerk. And he's not supposed to be really a likable character. And Nathan Fillion played that awesomely. And
you still like him in spite of his
Oh yeah. Oh, certainly you do. And so this is a great movie. But what I will say was, having been on the receiving end of people not liking the Snyderverse movies, and being online, being on Facebook, and trying to argue for why this movie's good, there are a lot of Snyderverse fans that hate everything Gunn could ever possibly do, because they blame him for Henry Cavill going away, and for the Snyderverse going away, and for all this new Superman stuff. And to be fair, I think Gunn is
accurate,
partially to blame because DC knew full well that they were going to bring James Gunn on to lead the DC universe. And they went and they told Henry Cavill, hey, we're not done with you. Why don't you go out there and tell people Superman's going to be back, you're going to be Superman, and there's a lot more of you to come down the pipeline, including Man of Steel 2.
Yeah.
They should have said, James Gunn, we're giving Henry the green light to tell this. What do you think? Because obviously when Henry told this, it was very, very shortly after that they announced that James Gunn was taking over. And then we learned that Henry Cavill was out.
Yeah.
And I think that maybe DC didn't know what James' plans were, but they must have, because to bring him on, they would have said, what are you thinking? What are you thinking about?
Mm-hmm.
Why they gave Henry Cavill the green light to say yes without having checked with James first.
Yeah.
I don't know. But that burned a lot of the Snyder fans. And so there's a large, loud group of Snyder fans that are looking for every possible way they can to poo-poo the new movie, mentioning how Man of Steel made more money, even with inflation, how Man of Steel was a better film. And they were going to boycott the new Superman release when it came out on July 11th. They were all going to be watching Man of Steel on streaming because they wanted, DC to see that, oh, Man of Steel's streaming like crazy. How come people aren't going to the theater? And and so, now I'm finding myself defending this movie, like I was defending Man of Steel.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what? I just
and I look to be, right?
Too, and I think a lot of these people, they like the Snyderverse, and I don't know as if I can say, I don't want to say you're not a real Superman fan if you are only liking this, but I will say that I am a Superman fan because I go to the Superman celebration every year. I've watched the George Reeves series. I've watched Kirk Allen movies. My favorite Clark Kent / Superman is Tyler from Superman and Lois on TV.
Same.
And so I love Superman for Superman.
Yes.
Did I love Henry Cavill? Yes. I saw Man of Steel 4 times in the theater. We're moving on, and I'm accepting that. And as a Superman fan, I'm going to embrace everything you give me. If Superman was a bad movie and I hated it, I would have said it was a bad movie and I hated it. Just like when Man of Steel came out, you had all these high hopes and you were disappointed in what finally happened and what came out.
I was sick to my stomach for a week.
And it's okay to say that. It's okay. Just because you're a Superman fan doesn't mean you have to say, oh, it was great because I love Superman, so I'm going to love whatever they come out with. But this movie, I loved it. I thought that David Cornsweet was great as Superman. I thought that Rachel Brosnahan did a great job as Lois Lane.
Yeah.
And I just think that the movie is very well done. Lex Luthor is great, and I think that we're going to see Lex in the next movie. I think in his battle armor, which for people that don't know, Lex Luthor has in the comic books, he's created this armor similar to what you would think of like as an Iron Man suit, except that he doesn't cover his face. You see his face, but it's green and purple, and it is he uses
the suit, not his face.
Huh?
No, I'm sorry. I'm kidding. You said his face is exposed, and then you were talking about the suit again, saying it's green and purple. It's like the suit is green and purple, not his face.
Oh, yeah, not his face. Correct. But he uses the suit to fight Superman, and I think we're going to see it live action.
I'm excited.
This is a comic book movie based on a comic book.
Yes,
and that's why I really like it, because Crypto is a comic book character, and we put him in the movie. And all this, I mean, they are fully embracing the nerdness, which is why what we're here talking about, being nerdy. And they're embracing all this nerdness and bringing it into this movie. And I just, I just think, and I have very high hopes for so much that's going on. And James Gunn posted something. It was either yesterday or the day before, and it was storyboards for. He says MOT, which is Man of Tomorrow, which is going to be the next movie, and it's on his desk, and they're like, it's like this big, and it's the storyboards. We don't see the storyboards, we don't see any of the drawings, we just see the stack of paper. Yeah, but that he's fully working on it and he's getting it ready to go, and it's so exciting.
It's beautiful to see. Like, I will say, because as you were saying, there's a lot of discourse. There's a lot of Snyder fans who are feeling really. It's a mix of largely negative emotions, and I understand a lot of why. And not all of it is, like some of this is on them, but a lot of this is not. A lot of this is just a kind of a raw deal for them. And I seeing all of the discourse, and as you look at things in life, sometimes it makes you re-examine what you saw before, perhaps in a more simplistic way. Now you see it with more nuance, and okay, why is this the case? Talking about the whole Zod thing. I had a major problem with the whole Zod thing in Man of Steel, and I had a larger problem with the Pa Kent thing, but funny enough, my solution to it was more graphic than anything Snyder did in any of the DC films. But it would have been, I would have led a more visceral point that still would have been and would have kept Clark truer to character, in my opinion. But seeing the discourse and seeing the way everything is talking about, the biggest thing and the thing that makes me more happy than anything else is seeing the reaction to the way this movie makes so many people feel. Because whether you doesn't matter if you liked or didn't like the Snyder films, I don't remember hearing a lot of people leaving leaving Man of Steel or Batman v Superman or Justice League and going, "This makes me want to be a better person," or saying, "I felt so good. I felt like I wanted to do good. I wanted to, like I'm motivated." Right. And that was the thing that seeing the Christopher Reeve Superman films, that was the feeling. Like, I didn't go into Man of Steel expecting a redo of Superman the movie. I didn't. I specifically did not want that. But I did want that feeling that I didn't get with Superman Returns in the way that I wanted. And I want to, at some point, I'm going to do an examination of exactly why I think that is, and why what Snyder had set out to do could have still done that. It's just some of the decisions that they made just didn't produce that. But I will say this, in the spirit of Thanksgiving, I said this during the giant, I don't know what, we talked for 5 hours on Jack Life about this. But toward the end, there was somebody who was definitely of the boycott gun iteration of the Snyder fandom. And I said, I'll tell you this. I loved Henry Cavill. I wish he could have continued. He got screwed. Same way Brandon Routh got screwed back in the day. I think he could have, could have given an opportunity. He could have risen to much higher heights than we got to see.
Yes.
But because Henry is incredible. If you watch The Man from U.N.C.L.E., that's the kind of Superman I want out of Henry Cavill. It could have been incredible, but we never got it. We were never going to get it because of the way that they were planning and the direction that they were looking at until like the last 5 minutes of the final like 7th film or something like that. But and that's the biggest crime out of anything. But I will say that a couple things. First, even if Henry had been allowed to continue, it was no longer going to be Snyder's tone, because the tone in Black Adam is not Snyder's tone. So it was going to be different. But I will say what I was meaning to say originally, in the spirit of Thanksgiving and Nerdsgiving, I'll say this. And I said it to that Snyder fan who said that they appreciated it. I know how the Snyder fans feel, because that's how I felt in 2011 when the New 52 specifically crapped on my Superman, and when Man of Steel, after New 52, Man of Steel comes out and talks a lot about Superman inspiring, but does not actually show a lot of Superman inspiring. And the whole thing of movies is show, don't tell. That's why it's a visual medium. Yeah. And like so many things just led me to think, wow, DC just does not get it anymore. Superman, for all intents and purposes, might well be dead because DC is trying to turn him into something he's not. And does not comfortably sit in. It's not about the realism. The realism you can have realism and still have Superman as a character. As a matter of fact, to a certain degree, James Gunn's universe, I mean, it's not nearly of the same kind of, it's not that kind of realistic or gritty, but Superman does not fit his universe, and the people react to him as if he's like, nobody says G, or nobody saves a squirrel. Like nobody, like he's trying to save the kaiju, even as he's trying to stop the destruction. Yeah. And that to me is the juxtaposition that they still could have applied with Man of Steel, but didn't really, because they were going for something, they were going for an inner turmoil kind of a thing, and that has its place. But anyway, what I felt after Man of Steel, I was sick to my stomach for a week. I thought, this is it. I hadn't been that depressed since Superman died in 1992. Like, it was bad. And so I know what that feels like. But the best advice that I can say is this. Because I truly feel that this new movie, I loved it so much. There are things that I would change. There are aesthetics that I know don't appeal to most of the folks who really love the aesthetic of Snyder. Gunn has a totally different thing, and it's gonna be like chalk and cheese for folks that want that smoother Snyder kind of thing. And hey, Snyder's a very great visual guy. He's a great visual director. But even if Gunn fails and you have that moment of catharsis, Snyder's never coming back to Superman in the way that, at least not in the way that you think he is. And if he does, it's going to be a while. Somebody else is going to come in. They're like Superman. It's going to be a while before they put dark and gritty on Superman again, for very good reason.
Oh, sure.
The social reaction to this movie, it has felt timely in a social sense. it has felt inspiring in the midst of some really crazy turmoil social times.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what we need right now. And even if Gunn's universe doesn't work out, it's just going to be something else.
Well, and that's
So
one of
you may as well strap in, but just do understand that I know how you feel, and I hope at some point the Snyderverse gets to, in comic book form or novelization form.
yeah.
I don't want to see movies. Like, I don't care if it's Netflix or whatever. I don't want to see the series continue in movie form as the official timeline. If Netflix gets like a mini series or something like that, or hey, if Netflix wants to pay for movies to be on Netflix, that's fine.
Well, they could call it an Elseworlds.
Exactly. As long as it's an Elseworlds, as long as it's not the main continuity Superman,
Sure.
they can do whatever. I do hope for their sake, because I know how that feels when the story that
Yeah.
you see in the future just disappears.
Mm-hmm.
I don't wish that on anybody, and I to anybody. Like, it's ironic because I'll also be the first person to throw out the line, "The Snyderverse is dead, bury it, consider this mercy." And because I know that they'll know what that's from, but I'm also the first person to say, I'm sorry that you lost what you loved.
Yeah.
And you don't, and I hope that at some point in some way, not replacing the current or any future current universe, that story gets to be told so you get some sense of closure at the very least.
Well,
I know I've been there.
I'll say that and I've mentioned this a couple of times in one of the Snyderverse groups that I'm in on Facebook. I think the way the Snyderverse fans, some of the rabid ones who, have seen Superman and hate on it and have nothing but bad things to say about it, is that some of them, I honestly think, believe that with Man of Steel technically making more money at the box office, selling more tickets at the box office, that if James Gunn all of a sudden were to fail, that DC would recognize the error of their ways and immediately restore the Snyderverse. And I think that's what some of these people firmly believe. And I've said, no. You know what's going to happen if James Gunn fails? Warner Brothers is going to say, I guess there's Superman fatigue in the movies. Yeah. And then 20 years from now, maybe they'll think about making another one.
Actually, no. I'll tell you exactly what's going to happen. Warner Brothers will sit there twiddling their thumbs until Superman hits public domain. And then my ass will make a Superman movie. That's what's going to happen. If Gunn fails, you're not going to get Snyder. You're going to get me, and there's going to be Trunks. Everybody in the movie is normal people. Will walk around wearing. No, I'm kidding. Sorry, that's good. But like, no, you're absolutely right. Like, if the Snyderverse didn't, or sorry, if Gunn's universe doesn't work, and look, I know that what happened with Zack Snyder's Justice League movie finally getting finished, I understand that feels like, hey, you get that taste of we can do anything if we're unified and connected and whatever. Yeah. The reason that worked is that it was lockdown and they needed some kind of content to try to drive people because they couldn't put anything in a movie theater.
Yeah.
So they needed something. And here is something that they could do that they knew that there was interest in and would make a big splash because it would be headlines and it would be all of this kind of thing. But the problem, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was going to say Zach had most of the rough cut already on a laptop.
Exactly.
He just had to do post-production.
Yep. And the problem is, like, when COVID hit, we were no longer in the same world where Aquaman could do $1 billion at the box office.
Mm.
And the vibe shift of this is gonna sound snarky, and I don't really mean it to, but when people generally feel like things are good, they tend to like their movies nihilistic. When people feel like the world is in the toilet, people want their movies escapist. And they want to feel good. They want a sense of purpose. They want to feel like they've got something to inspire them, something to look forward to. And that is when Superman has always operated best in those moments, because that's when Superman first hit. It was the Great Depression. And so this movie being what it was, it's that's where we are right now, and that's only going to continue, because if you look at between AI and robotics, and I'm not even going to get into like political things or whatever, but there's a lot of turmoil and there's a lot of craziness that's going to go on, and it's going to get more crazy, because as technology goes forward, it's going to cause even more turmoil. And so if we want, people are going to want that much more something to truly look up to, and to feel like they can, like, something they can be a part of, even if it's just a little bit of escapist, but also inspiring. And this new Superman has that in spades. It is a complete 180 aesthetically from the Snyderverse, and like I said, I love the look. If you took Henry Cavill's suit and David Corenswet's suit, I love the new suit. I do think the Man of Steel suit's better. And I just talked about what my reaction was to Man of Steel. I think the Man of Steel suit is better. I think the Man of Steel suit looks better in brighter colors and with a set of trunks. Because I've seen like manipulations of what that would look like, and I'm just going, wow, that's mind blowing. That's phenomenally perfect. And Henry just has a very straight out of the comic book chiseled sort of look.
Yes.
David Corenswet's look is very Superman, but just not in the same way. And so it's going to be an adjustment period. So the other thing I will say, with a lot of addressing the idea that that a lot of the Snyder folks, they've had to eat a lot of crow with a lot of the universe not doing as well, and a lot of division that just really didn't stop, and all of this sort of thing. And so now the sad part is that what it's left with is they're hurting, and it's kind of like lashing out, but a little bit of, hey, if we stick together, we can do this. But it's going to be one of those things where, give it 5 years. In 5 years, the people will kind of start dropping off from engaging in the laughing emojis and all of this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Because we are slowly, thankfully, coming to the end of it being socially rewarded to act out like a small toddler. And when social 2-year-olds are no longer rewarded, it'll be one of those things where, what do you do if a toddler is acting out and you just don't even acknowledge that they're there? They give up, because they want, it's for the attention, because that's where the dopamine comes from.
Yes.
So if you starve out the dopamine, then they find something else to do because it's not driven by anything but that. And or a lot of it's not driven by anything but that at this point. And I don't blame them for that, because Warner Brothers made a lot of mistakes to get there. Snyder made a lot of mistakes to get there. David Zaslav is a walking mistake machine. But one of the smartest moves they made was James Gunn, because I loved Creature Commandos. I loved the Suicide Squad did more for Harley Quinn character development cinematically in that 5-minute scene where she takes out the leader of the country they went to, than 2 other movies with her in them. And that's amazing. That's a skill that not a lot of people have, that means that you can juggle a lot. If you can do that, you can juggle a lot.
Yeah.
And so I expect this will finally have some legs, ironically at a time where Marvel's kind of trying to refine their footing. I have not seen, did you see Fantastic Four? I haven't yet.
Fantastic. No, I have not.
Okay, because I mean, it looks great. I do want to see it. I just haven't seen it yet, but I'm excited to.
Kristen says, in pretty much every media, Batman and Superman didn't trust each other at first. They'd never been besties right away.
Yeah, except for some of the early comics, but yeah, that's true.
Yeah. So it is 8:51, and wow, this has been very Nerdsgiving. There were a lot more nerdy things that I wanted to talk about, but it's fine that we just got going on Superman and Metropolis and other things.
Mm-hmm.
But I think
we should do some bullet points.
Well, I was going to talk about Ghostbusters and how I wear, I have the jumpsuit and the proton pack and everything else, and how I love Ghostbusters. And I know you had the TMNT mask.
Well, I am looking forward to, I grabbed this bad boy because the 35th anniversary of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the 1990 film, was this year. It went back in theaters and was so successful that it actually made a top list. I mean, it didn't make the top of it, but it made a top list for one of the weeks at box office, which is kind of insane for a movie from 1990. It did so well. It was supposed to play for 2 days. It ended up playing for like a week and a half or something like that.
Wow.
Which is fantastic. The movies are getting 4K restorations, the first film from the original negative, which is incredible, with a bunch of new features. Soon we're supposed to be getting a documentary that's like a 4-hour documentary about the Turtles, which I'm really excited about.
Very cool.
In the Ghostbusters realm, I agree. The Proton Pack is incredible. We're going to get the 1984 Proton Pack, which looks great. Your Tobin Spirit Guide is awesome. Yes. I wish I could afford to grab that. Too many other things I need to get, but at some point I want one. Oh, that's beautiful. Yeah, bring that to the camera so folks can see that. That's.
Let me take this out. This is.
And I love
that's a business card from Ray's Occult Books. And there's actually a charm on the front of the book, because who knows what kind of evil voodoo is in this book. But this book is done. I mean, it is a full spirit guide that lists all different stories of various, like this, for example. This is a 1984 Proton Pack. This is a full spirit guide that lists all different stories of various, like this, for example. 1984 Proton Pack. This is a full spirit guide that lists all different stories of various, like this, for example. 1984 Proton Pack. This is a full spirit guide that lists all different stories of various, like this, for example.
Oh, it's
I'm trying to get it.
yeah. Oh, cool.
Yes,
and
there
they're
are a lot of.
and they're working on a new one.
Oh, there are a lot of Easter eggs in here. The Sanderson sisters, Beetlejuice,
It's awesome.
plus the Terror Dogs, plus Vigo the Carpathian from Ghostbusters 2, and a lot of other stuff. But yeah, this is a very fun book.
Yeah.
And yeah, there's just so much. I mean, I could talk nerddom forever. But it is approaching 2 hours, so I think
Yeah.
we should probably wrap up and
Sure.
just say happy Nerdsgiving, happy Thanksgiving.
Yep. Happy
To
Thanksgiving,
those in the
everybody.
U.S. that are going to be celebrating. And happy Nerdsgiving to everybody who's out there
Yep.
watching this stream either now or whenever, because Thanksgiving is always the last Thursday of November, but Nerdsgiving is every day.
Exactly. So and the biggest thing that kind of like we said at the top, the coolest thing the best thing advice I can give is if you like what you like, I mean, like what you like, and don't be ashamed of it. Don't be like, I'll be the first person to talk about, oh yeah, I have just discovered the ACOTAR series. And that's a Court of Thorns and Roses. And so I'm really enjoying those books. I'm on the first one. So really enjoying that. I want to put together a Resand costume for cosplay for some of the fantasy events. And I just discovered this. I mean, I've known about it, I've heard about it, but I'm just now getting into the series.
Sure.
So understand this. You're never too old to jump into a new fandom.
Nope.
Don't worry about, I don't care if you're 65 and you just discovered Barney the Purple Dinosaur. Doesn't matter. Like if are other people going to look at you? Sure. Let them take a picture. It'll last longer. Like as long as you're having fun and you're not hurting anybody, enjoy yourself and understand that, not hurting anybody means that, like, you're not physically hurting anybody, and you're not like infringing on somebody's right to be and to live. Other than that, life is all about the experiences.
Yes.
That is the entire point. Because if you look at, sometimes people goes, oh gosh, we weren't supposed, we weren't supposed to do that, but we did that, and oh my gosh, it was so much fun. Those are the stories that you'll tell decades down the line, and other people will tell about you decades down the line. So breathe deeply in life, enjoy every moment that you can, and be thankful for it, and dive into it with gusto and with vibrance, because that is, as I gain experience and whatever, that is the entire point of it all. And the rest is social mores or whatever. It's in the way, but at the end of the day, nobody remembers that stuff.
Yeah.
So
and
just love it.
And know you're not alone.
Too.
Back in the day, when I was growing up in the 70s and 80s and whatnot, you could like something and it might be hard to connect with other people that like the same thing. But now with the internet, with social media, with Reddit, with Facebook, you just type in what you like on Facebook and you're going to find a group of other people just like you that like this thing. And you can go in there and you can discuss, you can talk, you can share what you love about it, and someone else will love the exact same thing you do for the exact same reason you do, and you have found a friend.
Yep.
So
100%.
Yeah.
Yep, 100%. And Kristen, happy 84th birthday to almost Superman Patrick Wayne. Very cool.
Yes, and she did say before above that she said she liked Fantastic Four, so it is something I definitely want to watch.
Yeah, I want to see it too. It's not that I haven't. It's not that I haven't wanted to watch it. It just I have not had a chance. But
Yes,
and
myself.
and it yeah. And so I want to say real quick to everybody out there, you know, like Steve was saying, yeah, you type in what you like and you can find a community for it, and do not miss an opportunity to try new things, to meet new people, to explore new fandoms and things, and go in with an open mind, because you never know what you're going to like, and try to meet something on its own terms as best as you can. That's not always going to be easy, but it's a great way to live. And if you want to find out about various things, so Jack Life is going to be all about nerd culture and about learning how different people love what they love and why they love it and where they approach it from. And that's also something that we dive into with otherworldly fundraising. And so, you know, nerds helping nerds, fans helping fans, and everybody just having a good time with each other. That's the story of life. And and Fantastic Four does have a stinger. Oh, okay. So at the end. Okay, so stay for the credits. Got it.
Yes.
Cool.
So, all right. Well, I will say happy Thanksgiving. Happy Nerdsgiving, everyone out there. Thank you for joining us on our stream. Yeah. And we will see you guys soon. We have so December, I think our show is with the lovely Rebecca.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to have something coming up. We don't have a date set yet, but keep staying tuned. Like us, Otherworldly Fundraising. I will give our name again, Otherworldly Fundraising. You can find us on Facebook. You can find us on YouTube. And you can engage with us, like our videos, comment, tell your friends to find us, tell your friends to like us. And stay tuned for good things to come.
Yep, got a lot of fun, and we might even have a surprise or two in December as well. So keep updated on the Facebook page and Instagram and everything. But YouTube and Facebook are the primaries, so definitely check those out. And thank you everybody for checking this out. And happy Nerdsgiving, Steve. Happy Nerdsgiving. Happy Thanksgiving
to you too, Jamie.
Thank you. Yeah. And all right, we love you everybody, and we will catch you soon.
Yep.